Hey guys, it's Sketchup format and welcome to this brand new Sketchup speed build. So today I'm building the Californian house in Sketchup obviously, and again it's a very modern luxurious house which I've built on a mountain. You'll see me creating the mountain this time because I realized that I actually got rid of that part in the previous speed builds whenever I built anything on like a slope or a mountain, but I decided I've been using the mountain tool or the terrain tool a lot recently, so I kind of know my way around it. So therefore I thought, maybe I should just show you that part and that aspect of the video as well. I realized that my computer didn't actually crash anymore when I used it, and also I just know perfectly fine how to use it. So it's just maybe useful to show it in the video as well. You need to add some tools to the toolbar in order to use it in SketchUp, but you don't have to download anything. And if you just slow the video down a bit or just rewatch it a lot, I guess you'll be able to figure out how you can make your own terrain. It's very useful, and in recent projects outside of the YouTube videos like these ones, I've actually used it to recreate terrain which is existing in real life, to make a realistic model on it, just so that you know what can actually fit on it and what's the slope and all that kind of stuff. I'll talk about those separate projects later on a little bit more, maybe in a few minutes or seconds already. But anyways, like I said, it's a modern house. I decided to call it the Californian house because I've been working on projects in California quite a lot recently. I have one assignment, one project for in California, which I've been working on for quite some time now, a couple of months already. It's really a lot of fun, and this house which I'm building there is turning out awesome. In case you don't know what I'm doing, I'm creating concept designs or just SketchUp models for people of houses that they actually want to build in real life. So they want me to create a design. They want to build a house, in this case in California, and they saw my videos on YouTube, like you probably are watching them right now as well, and they felt hey, I like his design, I like his style, so maybe you can help me design a house for me, and that's probably much cheaper than an architect, which indeed it is. And also in that way you just get a good visualization of what you want, and in that way you can step up to an architect who can just actually create the actual design for you, but the concept design that I come up with and the placement of rooms and stuff, all the technical things will have to be done by the architect, but I can come up with creative ideas and just a general design, which people really seem to like. I've been working on many of these projects, so therefore I've been in SketchUp a lot, but not too much for making videos, and that's kind of the problem, because therefore whenever I'm working on those projects I kind of forget to create separate speed builds as well. But it has caused me to be able to just make these ones much more realistic, because this house is actually very realistic. The shape might be, it's not strange, but it's not the most normal everyday shape you would see, but that doesn't really matter too much. In modern designs you see that quite a lot. But I've really started using groups and not actually components, but I have been using very many groups, and that's what you'll be seeing in this video as well. And that's also the reason why it's turning green all the time, because then I actually click on it. You have to double click and then you open the group and in that way you can edit the group, and if you edit the group it doesn't actually become part of another thing you built. So in that way the walls are separated, you can enlarge them or change the way they are built very easily without actually destroying the entire model, and that's just very useful. I know people have been saying this to me in the comments a lot over the past years that I've been uploading these videos, and now I've actually started listening and using it, and indeed it is useful. It's not completely necessary, especially not for what I used to do back in the day, but for this project it is useful to be able to hide some groups, because you can actually also hide them. In that way obviously you don't see them, and you can work carelessly on other parts. And also measurements, once again, also in the last build they were realistic, but also in this build they are even more realistic. These measurements are just like they would be in real life. So it could actually be built, I guess, but it might not be. Yeah, it is just going to be a very expensive house, so that's kind of the problem. But it does look really cool in my opinion. So yeah, that's one of the good things about the projects for you, because further on, or generally, those projects aren't too good for you because I do have to spend quite some time on it. But I am very thankful for you for watching these videos and sharing them if you do, because like Sketchup is really a thing I enjoy. I really like The Sims, but recently there's not been much going on with the game, so then I decided to just move on to Sketchup a little bit, and I just really enjoyed. You can really let all your creativity go in this program, and yeah, these assignments, it's just like kind of a cool side job, so I really like it. In case you are like indeed planning on building your own house, you can always email me. My contact info is in the description down below, and then you can just send me an email regarding what you would like me to do, if it's realistic, of course, and if I can help you with that. But yeah, that's just kind of a little update on this. But yeah, for some reason, therefore not for some reason, therefore I have just been kind of feeling like an actual architect recently, because I've literally just been working on creating actual houses. Whether they will actually be built, that's of course never, like, you can never entirely surely say, because of course it's still the internet, so you never know whether people are actually like being serious or not. But I guess they wouldn't pay money if they weren't actually going to build the house. But whether I'll actually see them with my own eyes in real life sometime, I'm not sure yet. But I hope to come by when the houses are being built, because that's like crazy. That would really be cool, because those houses are simply going to look awesome. And of course, it's just something you've worked on yourself. But yeah, as you can see here, I've got like an infinity pool, which I'm currently building. Of course, like nearly every house that I build has an infinity pool. I just really like infinity pools, so I guess that's just the thing with it. And yeah, the shape, it's kind of strange. I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do with it, but I just started working on it. And then, yeah, I started to realize that I liked it, especially with this roof. I had no idea what I was doing. And then I added this and I was like, wow, this actually looks pretty awesome. So I just continued working on it that way. And yeah, I must honestly say, with groups, working on the project is so much easier and also so much more like efficient, and you've got so much more oversight kind of what you're doing, and it's just much easier to make changes and stuff. So indeed, those people who let me know that I should use groups from like the start whenever I started making these videos, thank you for telling me. I'm sorry that I only just listened, but it wasn't really necessary too much before, but now yeah, it's just easier to use it, but it wasn't exactly necessary. But thank you. And yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's just a very modern house based or built on the slope, as you can see. And yeah, it's kind of complicated, I can tell you that. Maybe if you've got kind of like an architectural side or just a technical brain kind of, or you just know how to process these things, you can maybe imagine what it's like, this building. But it's got like split leveling going on, some very high ceilings, some not very high ceilings. So that's kind of confusing. While building, I was like, why am I making it myself so much more difficult than I would actually have to? But that's because of the slope, and I thought, I want to have a little bit of a challenge. So I decided to yeah, use some split leveling, because the way, or the part where you enter the house, then under there you've got an entire other level. But in order to get into the actual living room, you have to go down half a level, and there you've got the entire living room, which has a height of 1.5 level, and behind that you've got a regular level, sort of. So that's kind of confusing. It would in reality not be an actually very big house, I guess, because I just really focused on the exterior space, but not too much on the interior space. The garage which comes with it is a 2-car garage, so that's kind of big. And also I think the renders turned out pretty cool. I've not entirely finished them yet by the time I'm recording this this commentary, so I guess I'll have to work on that afterwards. But so far I think they are actually going to be really cool. But I noticed that it seems like you don't really care too much about the renders, or at least it doesn't really, if I put much more effort into it, it doesn't seem like there's much you don't really notice it. So I decided maybe I should put a little bit less effort into that and just make more of these videos, because you do actually notice it whenever I just create new designs, but never whenever I create like different renders. So I've been thinking about that, maybe adding backgrounds as well to make it more realistic, but I didn't get that to work perfectly fine yet, so I haven't added actual backgrounds yet, I believe, but of course I still have to work on them, so I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I just think it's really cool. In case you want to know what rendering program I use, I'm going to say it right now. I'm sure that there will still be a ton of comments about that in the comment section, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, I can reply to them if it's like soon after the video has been uploaded, but if it's too long afterwards, I'm just like, then you don't watch or read every comment anymore. I do mainly read them, but when I've just uploaded the video, I'm still really waiting to reply to questions and stuff, and then afterwards I'm just in school and stuff, and then I don't really have time to reply to them. I'm not sure whether that's logical, but yeah. The rendering program I use is a Render Plus, or you can go to renderplus.com, then you can download the trial, and the rendering program I use from them is iRender Next, but you can also use Aerial Vision, which is the cheaper version. And I'll actually start making like tutorials on that program as well. Maybe you've noticed that I've uploaded quite some of those tutorials recently. That's because they asked me to make some more of them, so I did, but I know that they're not too interesting, so whenever I upload one of those I just want to make sure that you know that there's a difference between these SketchUp videos and those ones, because there definitely is. In this, I'm actually creating something, and in those tutorials I'm just talking about the program, which you might not even have. It's more focused on architects, those videos. So that's just a little tip, so that if you see a SketchUp video, just make sure that you know what kind of SketchUp video it is, because I can imagine that it's kind of a bummer if you think, oh, he's uploaded a new SketchUp speed build, and then it's such a tutorial, and then you decide never to watch the videos again, even though if I do upload a SketchUp video like a speed build like this, you don't actually see it. So that's just a little tip, because I can imagine that it's kind of like complicated, but those videos are kind of useful to make, and people who use the program seem to like it, and otherwise I still put like my models in there, so people like to see that, but I'm like, the speed builds are much more fun to watch than those tutorials. I just make them for the company. But here I'm adding some really cool sliding doors. Are they they're not exactly sliding doors, they just, I guess you know what I mean. They just, get into each other kinda. And also you now see the 1.5 level idea which I've got. If you're gonna look inside, you'll see that. I just think it's really turning out to look really cool, and also the textures are kind of cool on this house, so I'm just very happy with it, with the way it turned out to look like. But also let me know what you think of it in the comments down below, because I always like to read like your opinions, but also any suggestions that you might have for me when it comes to building something in SketchUp. If you've got a suggestion for what you want to see next, maybe like some kind of building or something. I often build houses, but I can try something different as well, maybe. And also I often build something modern, and I think I'll keep doing that because I'm just really into modern design. But that's just a heads up, because in that way that you shouldn't request me to build like the White House, for instance, because that's not actually modern, and that's something I'd build in The Sims, but not in SketchUp, because in SketchUp, like building detail would actually be really hard, I can imagine. But recently I've been looking into or on very many architectural sites, so just websites of like architectural firms, and I came across Big, so that stands for what was his name again? Bjarke Ingels Group. Yeah, he's Swedish, or no, Denmarkish. He's from Denmark at least, and he's like kind of a famous architect, and he's got like a big firm, and his work is like really, really cool. He's building the second World Trade Center, so one World Trade Center, so the Freedom Tower has been built in New York right now. It's like finished, and his company is building like the second one, which is going to be really cool as well, finished in 2021. But he's also working on very many other projects. He's like kind of young, and he's got a very successful business going, and he does like lectures all over the world, and that's like, he's kind of an example, or he has become kind of an example for me recently because like the way his designs are just really cool, and he's got like a huge company. That's kind of cool. I've really been getting into architecture even more lately, and I really consider studying it, but I'm not entirely sure yet. But he did his work and what he does, and just generally all that kind of motivated me. A little bit more. So also to create this, by the way, because that's the way I come up to talk about this right now. But let me know if you know his work and know something about the company, or just other architectural companies I should look for in the internet, because I always like to get such suggestions, because it's just fun to see what they're working on, and it just gives me some more inspiration also for my own projects, kinda. So that's just fun to see. Here I'm just adding a little more just windows all around the house, kinda. I really did my best to get the detail right and get all the measurements right and just get everything like detailed and exact. So also all the windows, like the distance between every window is exactly the same, and the frames of the windows are even thick, like all around the entire window part, I guess. So if you've got an entire window, like the thickness of the frame is the same. So in that way I kind of tried to make it more realistic and just look as good as I could, and I think it has turned out to look really awesome in my opinion. So I'm very happy with it. Adding a small window here, because here we've got another level under there, which is like half underground, or at least it seems to be underground, but at the right side it's just entirely overground, kind of, so not underground. I guess we wouldn't call that underground in normal English. But also coloring goes a little bit easier if you've got groups, because in that way you can just color an entire group all at once, which on the one hand is useful. On the other hand, it can get kind of hard if you just decide to click on like one side and then you realize that you didn't select the entire group, and then it does color the entire group. So you didn't actually select the group, it just colors the entire group because it doesn't know what part of the group you want to color. Only if you use Sketchup you'll know what I talk about. But let me know, by the way, do you also use Sketchup? Because like these videos, they're kind of, they are mainly, just entirely about Sketchup, these Sketchup speed builds, obviously. And I'm curious to know whether you just watch this for the design, or you just like to watch the building process, because it's cool. I've also got people who watch my videos simply because they like how I'm thinking about what I'm building. And once I was for like a project doing some Sketchup stuff, and these people were like, oh, I like seeing it. And then I realized, well, that's probably the reason that so many people like to watch the videos as well, because they just like to see that thinking process and the way I decide to remove stuff and then add it again, and in that way just the entire process. But I'm very curious to hear from you whether you just watch it because you like it, or you watch it because you use SketchUp yourself as well, you want some inspiration, maybe both. But maybe there are also people who mainly watch this for architecture, because I really have been thinking about maybe turning my channel into architectural stuff even more. So instead of making the SketchUp speed builds, just making videos in which I showcase architecture which I create. So instead of a video like this, which is like nearly 30 minutes long, which is like exceptionally long, but I can imagine that not everyone wants to see the entire process but just the end result. I thought maybe I should make animations, or just like videos of, I guess, a minute or something to kind of visualize the building. But I'm very curious to hear about like your opinions. So do you watch this for the end result, or just the entire process, or both? I'm just very curious to hear about that. Maybe you want to learn more about SketchUp. That could be like a useful tip as well, because then I should definitely upload more tutorials. And also let me know what I should do a tutorial on. But I'm just very curious to hear about that, because I've been thinking of really uploading like half SketchUp maybe, or like 1/3 SketchUp on my channel, instead of like the, I guess, 10% SketchUp which is on my channel right now. So I just want to know about that, because maybe then I can turn the entire channel into a little bit more of an architectural channel. Of course, still having the Sims, but the Sims focusing on architecture, kind of like I'm doing right now, even though I also upload news videos. But just let me know. This is the front of the house, by the way. I'm not sure yet whether this will be the thumbnail or the back will be the thumbnail, because the back is a little bit more creative, I guess, and kind of strange, and the front is just a very regular, well, just a really cool modern look. And this is very realistic. This is like, I was building this and I was like, wow, this is actually turning out like a very realistic build, which I liked, but I'm not too sure yet whether it's not like too basic. So I guess I'll ask people on Twitter and Facebook, and well, Facebook, I don't use that. Well, I do have it, but I actually never use it. But maybe on Instagram I can ask people what they want to see. By the way, if you're still watching the video at this point, we're like 20 minutes in nearly, I believe. Please comment what last time I said that you should comment panda. I guess you should comment soup this time. I'm entirely not sure why I said it, why, or at least why it's soup, but I just want to know when people watch the entire video, kind of, because I just like to know that the effort which I do to talk about the video for like 30 minutes, which is kind of long, is just being appreciated. If there's no comment of soup in the comments, that would kind of, well, it wouldn't really matter because you just have to finish off the video. But I'm always just curious how long people manage to hear me rambling, kind of, because that's what I do. Also, if you've got a tip for me how to increase the comment or make the commentary better, let me know, because at times recently especially I've been feeling like my English is just not on spot and I'm just kind of using wrong words. At some point I was about to start recording and then I realized why. This is not my first language, and actually I believe I make like a mistake every sentence, and I kind of started to become insecure, and I was like, actually what you're doing is kind of strange. But oh well, just let me know because I'm very curious to hear about that. So yeah, just leave comments. That's kind of the conclusion, because I've asked you to leave comments on like nearly everything, on like what's your favorite architectural firm, what I should do with the videos, about my English, everything. But yeah, I just always like to read the comments, so just let me know. That's just always fun to know. Here I'm just adding the same window. I thought, I'm just going to copy it. Didn't actually work out, but in the end it did. But I still had problems, I believe. Did I recreate the entire window? No, I believe I just had, it took much more time than I wanted it to take to create that window, even though I'd created it somewhere else already. But yeah, let me know, or let me think, because you have to let me know a lot already, whether I'll go into the terrain a lot in this video. Well, we'll see, but I think I'm not actually going into adding trees and plants too much in the video. I am like adding those green parts because I felt like that looks kind of realistic, but or just kind of, well, it's not exactly realistic, but it's kind of professional and architectural kind of. I felt like, in that way you kind of get the impression, here you've got some green space, but in the end I just turned the entire thing into green space, because then that's what it would look like in real life, and for the renders that just looks much better. But yeah, here I'm just doing stuff. I came up with quite a smart idea to create that street, in my opinion, because I decided that I wanted to have like a curve in the street, but then I realized that that's kind of hard to create in these terrains because it's triangles, and getting a curve in a triangle, that's just like nearly impossible. But then I thought, I'm just going to make a separate part, make it a little bit higher, so 0.0 centimeters, I believe, or meters, and in that way it's just above the green, and still you can have a curve. You'll see that later on. Here I'm adding like a really cool relaxing area, just some relaxing bats. I thought it was kind of cool and realistic. Made them groups, or maybe I made them components. No, I believe I just made them groups because I wasn't entirely sure what groups or what components work like. So yeah, I just wanted to be safe and use groups instead. And yeah, I felt like this really looks cool and realistic, and also the infinity pool is much more realistic. That's still a thing I wanted to say. You saw me working on that like a couple of minutes ago, and you now see that there's water over the edge as well. So actually it is very realistic. I'm also adding this little like these stairs, but that's good because now you can actually see the infinity pool a little bit better. But as you can see, you see that there's water going over it, but you still see the stone texture behind it, and also below, like where the water ends up. So you jump in the pool, then water gets over the edge. and that's being saved again to reuse it later on after it's been filtered. But yeah, the place where that water ends up, I've decided to add a stone texture to that as well, but still having the blue visible of the water, or actually it's not blue, but it reflects blue, and water is blue in this case. Yeah, here I'm making that curve. I thought like it was really a genius idea of me. I'm just very, very proud over this, because I just wanted to make this curve in the road, because it was just kind of realistic, I felt like it would be. But then I didn't know how to do it, and then I came up with this idea and it just worked perfectly fine, so I was happy with that. Then you'll see that I just make it very low, as you can see, and then you've just got a street going in the model, which is just realistic. I'm adding very many palm trees along this street as well, because of course in the end it's still a Californian house. The reason for that is because, yeah, while building it I kind of had California in my mind, so I decided, I'm just gonna focus on California a bit for this house. And also I've just been working on a couple of projects in California, like I said, so I thought, why not call this the Californian house? So that's what I did, and here we're just turning the rest of the landscape into grass as well. I didn't know I recorded this much of the landscaping. But anyways, we're very close to the end of the video now. Now definitely comment soup if you watch the entire video, because that's awesome. Thank you so much for the support and just watching the video, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video, because that just definitely helps me out. Also subscribe to see future upcoming Sketchup videos. And then here we've got the renders. Let me know what you think of those, because I'd like to hear about that. I think they turned out pretty cool, because yeah, so far, because of course I just mentioned that I've not finished them yet entirely, but what I've made so far I liked, so I guess they will look kind of cool. But anyways, thanks for watching this video, and then I hope to see you back in another video pretty soon. Bye bye.